Disrespect. Nobody wants to feel disrespected, but in a weird, like watching a car crash kind of way, it can be entertaining happening to someone else. And since we're watching anime, no need for a moral compass, so I can watch and not feel bad to my heart's desires. But what do I mean when I say disrespected? Basically, someone completely disregarding anyone's wishes or feelings, showing zero courtesy and completely embarrassing them.
I did get shit on. Let me tell you how. Your mom
Mosh beating his opponent's ass and then sitting down, waiting for him to get back up again so he can continue to beat his ass, and then suplexing a female? Disrespect. Sukuna refusing to form a pact with Yuji and instead laughing at him while his friend dies? Disrespect. Frieren literally telling a demon lady to kill herself. Disrespect. These moments aren't uncommon, especially in action animes. A lopsided fight is one of the most common disrespectful moments, but I may have just watched an anime that's 50% disrespect and 50% shit talking you after.
I'm gonna beat you, and it's gonna hurt, because I don't know.
Let me introduce you to the most notorious talker runs the world's greatest clan, and our man that is the said most notorious talker, Noel Stolen. Noel is the grandson of the legendary seeker Overdeath and dreams of surpassing his strength. However, Noel was born with the talker class, the weakest of them all. He's well versed in combat strategy and support, but lacks the actual combat skills to ascend to the top solo. Instead, he seeks out only the strongest to accompany him to form a clan and rise to the top. The story is nothing too complicated. Seekers are essentially adventurers who perform the same jobs you've seen in every fantasy anime. These seekers can form parties and rank up based on the jobs they've completed. Eventually, you'll want to make your party into a clan to have less restrictions and more recognition. And from there, the strongest clans are part of an elite group known as the Regalia. Noel's goal is to become the strongest seeker, so he'll need to climb the ranks and ascend past his grandfather's status. I don't know if a story premise can get more basic than that. There are hundreds of animes about a character who is weak but wants to be the strongest. What makes this anime any different? Well, Noel will do whatever it takes to get to the top. He trains his hardest and learns from his experiences, but I don't think you're hearing me. Noel will do whatever it takes.
I would literally kill you.
He don't care if you're a man, woman, child, grandma, baby. If you get in his way, be prepared to be moved out of the way. If you become this man's enemy, you're fucked. And if you aren't his enemy, don't become his enemy. You could accidentally bump into him in the street, and if you don't apologize, dude will come back with your name, the name of your family, where you live, your finances, previous medical history, all of your embarrassing moments, like that one time you pissed yourself at the 3rd grade but spilled Gatorade on yourself to cover it up. You know, that's just a hypothetical, of course.
Everybody my age pees their pants. It's the coolest.
Just know, if you cross Noel, you're gonna get it back tenfold. Have you ever had something stolen from you? The feeling, the despair of losing a possession is something most of us experience. Hell, I'm still beat up about my metal Greymon action figure that someone took out of my backpack in 2nd grade.
I cried once when I was 2. I've been there, dude.
Now imagine if that item stolen was of significant value. How often do you think people get those things back? Maybe a vehicle, but even that isn't guaranteed. And if you aren't around or have any footage of the person stealing, they're likely long gone and it's going to be almost impossible to track. But what if you were able to find the person who stole from you? What would you do? I can guarantee it probably isn't what Noel does. His party has finally saved up enough money to apply as a clan. This is an important next step in Noel's journey to becoming the greatest seeker. However, the night before, 2 of the party members run off with all of their funds. He knows who took it, but by the time he finds out, they are long gone. Tracking them down would be next to impossible. You probably know where I'm going here. He enlists the help of the entire town, offering a substantial reward for any information. One group comes forward and they're able to quickly track the deserted members. Quick little Inumaki impression and the 2 are subdued. As you can imagine, they're pretty pissed, and it doesn't lighten the situation when they find out all of the party funds were used for gambling. Standard reaction, just start beating the shit out of them. This dude is looking a bit rough, probably taking an extra beating because there's a female.
だったらお前が代わりに蹴られるか？俺は男女平等主義者なんでね。
Yup, we got an equal rights and equal lefts character in Noel. After getting both party members to confess to their crimes, he offers an ultimatum. Be handed over to the military police where they'll be forced to work in the mines and inevitably die, or be sold off as slaves to the Mafia and hope they get a nice master. This chick was in love with him, and he couldn't give two shits. Boy, stay about his paper. Did he perhaps go overboard? Most definitely, but I'm sick and tired of overly forgiving characters that are purely good. Give me some morally gray, Tyrion-esque characters that look out for themselves and have the balls to do something to people who've wronged them. With Noel having to start back at square one, he begins looking for new members. He stumbles upon Alma, the granddaughter of a famous assassin and carrier of other traits, and she's arguably more batshit than him. Oh, it's a perfect match. So, with the need to recoup the money previously lost, they take on a job getting rid of some bandits. A mayor of a village Noel has worked with before issued the job, so there's already some rapport built up, and his daughter seems to look up to Noel. Sounds like this should go smoothly.
We got you. Not a chance. Not this time. It never happened.
If you thought he was going overboard selling his former party members into slavery over stealing money, imagine what happens when someone tries to kill him. The mayor lies about the number of bandits so he can cheap out on the reward and then attempts to poison Noel and Alma so he can steal their gear and valuables. Okay, let's just calm down and assess the situation. Rather than taking the rest of the contract money and leaving, Noel demands every single coin in the house. This essentially ruins the family as they're in debt to the Mafia, and they don't take kindly to people missing their payments. And the daughter, who looked up to Noel and wanting to even adventure with him, ends up cursing the entirety of Seekers. I don't know, man, your dad's a legit scumbag. I don't know how you could defend a man who just admitted to attempted murder. Noel takes the money and then just leaves. No regard for their future. You tried to kill me? Good luck with the Mafia. It's like I said before, there is nothing to gain from making this man your enemy. He actually had a lot of nice, wholesome moments with this family until the attempted poisoning. If they were just to explain the situation rather than resorting to underhanded methods, things could have been resolved. But not every event is as big as the two I've mentioned. The guy is just a menace in everyday life. From gathering information to recruit a death row inmate, completely shutting down any horny advances, picking fights with slaves, and shoving guns in people's mouths. I don't know if he's just easily agitated or finds enjoyment in starting shit. Another thing you'll notice with Noel is whenever he wants something,
I like you, and I want you. Now we can do this the easy way, or we can do it the hard way.
One of those things was the homeless-looking slave that he berated in the street. It's a wild series of events that get us to this point. The slave was owned by the man who had Noel's gun in his mouth, and they were trying to run away from the Gambino family, a smaller family for the Mafia. They are caught, but at the same time, that dumbass mayor who Noel finessed comes in and tries to explain his situation. Unfortunately, all he gets is a cut-off arm. I say unfortunately because he should have just been killed. To save his own skin, the slaver offers the slave Koga to the head of the family. Koga then confronts Noel because the information broker Noel uses sold him out. This actually serves as one of the more reasonable moments for Noel. He threatens to kill the broker, and rather than beg for his life, he just accepts his fate because he's tarnished his pride as an informant. And then what happens there? Noel just lets him go. The guy's intentions weren't purely malicious, and he was ready to atone. That alone was good enough for Noel. As a man who looks out solely for himself, he understood a man looking out solely for himself. Plus, having no more info sources would kinda blow. This decision will soon turn quite profitable. Noel is able to fend off the attack from Koga and retreat, but not without a little instigating.
ガンビーノファミリーは必ず俺が叩き潰す。それが嫌ならビビってないでお前自身が俺の首を取りに来い。
The Mafia member he's opposing, Albert Gambino, is just not a solid dude. He's a cracked out, power-hungry leader who yearns only for violence and drugs. Gives off very big compensating energy, which makes him quite easy to rile up. The way Noel plays this man is just fucking insane. Calls him a bitch for sending Koga and says to come after him himself. Then proceeds to embarrass Albert in front of his guys and make him believe that he's been poisoned. Regardless of if Albert is a bitch or not, they're still the Mafia and decide to let Noel off if he leaves town. He does just that. but then uses the informant he left alive to dig up all the dirt on Albert. Things like how he isn't even the real son to the former boss, and how he murdered him but made it look like an illness. Now Albert has his guys against him. They insist that he fights a duel against Noel to prove he's worthy of being the boss. Of course, he's a little bitch.
Because you're a piece of shit.
I am not a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, but you're a little bitch. Sure.
And he doesn't want to. But that's why Noel also called in Finocchio Barzini, the Mafia member from before, to serve as witness. With a much higher member of the Mafia, Albert can no longer refuse, but he's still allowed a tribute. He chooses Koga, and Noel, despite being outmatched, outsmarts Koga and wins the duel. Now the slave ownership of Koga is transferred to Noel. The contract is quickly terminated, and Koga still joins the party under his own free will. The amount of planning to have this level of absolute certainty is absurd. You ever hear the phrase, always one step ahead? That's Noel, except he's about 15 steps ahead.
This motherfucker don't miss.
But the craziest thing is that this whole duel sequence with Albert wasn't even the most disrespectful thing in the episode. After the duel, Noel is confronted by Finocchio. They have an interesting relationship. They have worked together before and seem to be on decent terms, but any time that Finocchio offers a chance to join the upper ranks of the Mafia, Noel always declines. He's not going to make him join by force. Maybe he can, serenade him a bit. Capture his heart, if you will.
これなんだと思う？答えはノエルちゃんの心臓。
Well, I didn't mean it literally. Apparently, if someone refuses a request 2 times, Finocchio can use his judgment skill, where he gets to literally steal your heart. If he crushes it or moves more than 5 meters away, you're dead. To say that this ability gives you the upper hand would be a massive understatement. Surely now, Noel has to accept his offer and beg for his life. He literally can't win. Nope. He says do it, pussy.
シーカーの頂点に立つ。そうなった後ではいくらルキアーノファミリーでも手は出せない。つまり殺すなら今だ。俺を殺すんだろ。やれよ、やってみろ。将来的に厄介な奴は弱いうちに殺す。弱肉強食の世界じゃそれが正解だ。それは男のすることじゃねえよな。そこにハートはあるのか。答えてみろ、フィノッキオ。
I'm paraphrasing, but it's not far off. He says to just go ahead and kill him now, because there's going to be a point where not even the Mafia can touch him. Better use this opportunity while you still can. Listen, if that's me, I'm begging for my life and a new pair of pants, but Noel just alphas his way out of being murdered. I can't say the same about Albert.
心臓を握られても誇りを失わない男がいると思えば守る誇りすら持たないゴミ。いいわ、助けてあげる。本当か？ええ、うちの養豚場で飼ってあげるわ。手足を切り落としてあげるから豚さんと同じように歩きなさい。あの子たち何でも食べちゃうからせいぜい機嫌をとって仲良くしてもらうことに。
With his new party members and recent success, Noel is back to where we started the show, has an established party and ready to apply for a clan. They're denied. This might be the one thing Noel didn't account for, but it leads to a level of preparation and disrespect that somehow surpasses everything we've seen so far. Noel is able to level up to a B rank and chooses the skill Strategist. I know they said Talker is the weakest class, but the ability to analyze battles in real time and predict the outcome with certainty seems pretty busted. Knowing that his group will need to get even stronger, he continues scouting for new members. One of those being that death row inmate I mentioned, and he's pretty close to freeing them, because he's basically blackmailed every single prison guard.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And it's not just every prison guard he's got info on. He's obtained information on every B-rank party. I think it's time to stir the pot a bit. Noel is only looking for the strongest, so what better place to go than the bar where all of the strongest B-ranking seekers hang out. In classic adventurer trope fashion, we get the big strong man with the typical "haven't seen you around here before" shtick. Well, I got bad news for Dr. Doofenshmirtz here.
見ねえ面だな、ジョーちゃん。
ジョーちゃんじゃない。俺は男だ。
戦いの傷一つない綺麗な顔して男もクソもあるかよ。
顔に傷があれば男か？じゃああんたはよっぽど男になりたかったんだな、お嬢さん。
俺のことを知っているから大佐が万全だとでも言いたいのか、このクソ族は。
男ならブルーノ、女ならカチュア。あんたもうすぐ子供が生まれるんだってな。おめでとう。
Bro legitimately threatened this man's unborn children. That's one way to make an entrance. This wasn't even his main goal going in here. He just did it because he could. His main objective was to scout out the top B-ranking party, the Winged Knights. I say scout out, but he really just wanted to talk more shit.
ナエルのことをよく思ってない。
それは最高だ。
え？
だったら喧嘩しようぜ。
仲間を奴隷に落としたやつがよくもそんなことを。
ああ、そのことか。奴らはマフィアに高値で売れたよ。やっぱり持つべきものは大切な仲間だね。
うちのメンバーが申し訳ないことをした。
別に構わないさ。でも二度とないようきちんとしつけておけよ。犬でも教えれば人を襲わなくなる。あんたの仲間は犬以下だぜ。
噂で聞いたことは全部本当だった。だから私我慢できなくて。
噂話が好きとはまるで乙女だな。あんたら副業でおままごとでもやるのかい？それともお人形遊びかな。
仲間を大切にできない者にシーカーの資格はない。
資格ならとっくに発行してもらっているよ。それともあんたから認めてもらわないとダメなのか？なんだ今度は神様にでもなったつもりか？不遜だなあんた。自分だけが正しいつもりか？それこそいつか報いを受けるぜ。
I mean, come on. This level of instigation could rival Mark Phillips for the gold medal in the Hood Olympics. Normally, it's parties like the Winged Knights who are the main characters, often making fools out of groups like Noel's. So, it's refreshing to see the quote-unquote good guys getting shot down so easily. From here on out, it's just a masterclass from Noel. He creates fake documents to set up a competition against the Winged Knights for a clan spot. However, he specifically picks a monster that his abilities are effective against, and whoever loses has to disband as a party forever. And for a bit more tampering, he goes to every member of the Winged Knights besides the leader Leon and tells them they need to betray their party, otherwise they will be betrayed by Leon. Of course, no one pays any mind to this, but even so, the seeds of doubt have been planted. On the day of the test, Noel brings a literal picnic and just waits for the Winged Knights to mess up. They do, and as he said, are betrayed by Leon. Not in the typical way, but in order to keep his party safe, he didn't trust them in the most crucial moment. They're pretty much out, which allows Noel's group to win handedly. Keep in mind, he did this, split up a close group of friends just so he could poach their leader. It's like two sports teams playing against each other. The star player from one team says the other star is going to score in their own net. No one believes him, he scores in his own net, lose the game, and then joins the other team the next year.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Maybe not exactly like that, but it was a pretty extreme measure. Even after breaking up the Winged Knight party, Noel still has to convince Leon to join. He's currently got Doofenshmirtz trying to use the make you a dead bitch -ator. He looks almost ready to accept his fate until Noel shows up and Doofenshmirtz is the guy.
Patty the platypus!
This man Edgar is on the screen for maybe 2 minutes the entire season, and he gets his unborn children threatened and then his schnoz cut off. It's just a terrible screen to bodied ratio. With the threat neutralized and some slight convincing, Noel has successfully poached Leon from the Winged Knights, and his clan is looking stronger and stronger. His goal of making the regalia now doesn't seem so far off. With the addition of Leon and this newfound success, the clan-wide Tempest is formed. The name and symbol perfectly encapsulates the show. Snakes have been seen since ancient times as symbols of immortality and wisdom, but they are also seen as evil beings and deceiver of men. There's also like snake imagery every single episode, so that's just constantly being pushed into your brain. And it's because Noel isn't inherently evil, but you know, sometimes you just do what you gotta do. The clan will have to use all of their different attributes in order to get to the top. I'm just glad to see a show where the characters aren't all goody two-shoes. Not everything needs to be prim and proper. Sometimes you gotta be a dick. The Most Notorious Talker is a great anime if you just love seeing people be put in their place. It's episode after episode of when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, but Noelle happens to be both the unstoppable force and immovable object. The story is very basic, nothing to write home about. The weakest class becomes strong. But the characters are surprisingly interesting, and I'm hoping for a second season. If you had a chance to watch this anime, what did you think? I appreciate all the support on the videos, and if you enjoyed this one, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That's all for this time. Hope to see you here again.